We will build a great wall, and Mexico will pay for the wall 100%. Apple and all of these great companies will be making their product in the United States, not in China. ISIS will be gone if I'm elected president, and they'll be gone quickly. They will be gone very, very quickly.
Donald Trump's repeated threats and promises he made while campaigning for the presidency encouraged some global leaders, but also struck fear in the hearts of others, particularly Mexico, where leaders there have pushed back hard on Donald Trump's build the wall threat. We're joined now by former ambassador to Mexico, John Negroponte, who also served as former ambassador to the United Nations and Iraq. Welcome, Ambassador. And what about that? Let me tackle each of these here, and we'll start with Mexico. The Build the Wall chant became a repetition over and over again at many of these rallies. What is your best guess as to whether we'll see that come to pass, where the wall is built and Mexico pays for it, as Donald Trump had said they would?
Well, thank you. I certainly don't think that they're going to pay for it if further building does in fact go on. I, to the contrary, really think that one of the important first things that Mr. Trump could do would be to try to mend fences, so to speak, with the country of Mexico. One of the traditions of new presidents-elect have been to meet with the president of Mexico during the transition period. That's every president since Ronald Reagan has done that, and I would hope that Mr. Trump would consider doing that as a way to initiate his relationship as president with the country of Mexico.
Well, look,
we've got a lot of fence mending to do, and I think also it reflects on the question of his relationship with the Hispanic community here in the United States, which is also very anxious about some of the things that he has said.
No doubt, Ambassador Negroponte, but I think that pollsters not only severely underestimated his success and his real likability among a lot of people who felt that they were left out, but also certainly among people who care deeply about a secure border. So there's got to be a middle ground here, does there not?
Well, I think the middle ground is to have a secure border, have border patrol, have proper verification measures, but at the same time recognize that this is one of the most important economic relationships that we have in the world. We have more than $500 billion worth of trade with Mexico every year, and it's growing. Mexico is our second or third largest trading partner in the world, and I think as a businessman, Mr. Trump very clearly must understand that.
Now I need to get to Iran. And I don't know how you feel about the Iran nuclear deal that the UN Security Council, including the United States and with the so-called Big Five, how you felt about that deal. But our viewers hate it. We hear from them consistently. And certainly Israel has been very unhappy with it. Donald Trump has been extraordinarily clear in saying it was just a horrible deal. You have been the ambassador to the United Nations. You can't just single-handedly turn that around, can you? What kind of maneuvering could he effectuate on at least that nuclear deal when you also need the other countries like China, Russia, France to be a part of that decision?
Well, that's exactly the point, because these other 5 countries that were involved approved the agreement as well, and so it would be difficult for us to do this unilaterally. We could, but it might not have much effect if China and Russia and England and France continue to trade with Iran and to make economic opportunities available to them. You could argue that all we'd be doing would be to deprive ourselves of an economic opportunity that the other countries were taking advantage of. So I think he'd want to proceed on that very carefully. Another possible approach would just be to have a look at the agreement and see where it calls for verification and various kinds of enforcement measures, and see if ways can be found to tighten that up. And that might be another avenue of approach for the president-elect.
Well, you know, we were just showing video of nuclear energy operations in Iran, but the real fear, of course, is nuclear weaponry. So we're waiting to see more clarification on that. But listen, one of the platforms that Hillary Clinton really stood upon was that Donald Trump could not be trusted with the nuclear codes and the nuclear buttons. How do you feel about that? You served in the Bush administration.
Well, the American people have decided that question. They've elected him. He's now president-elect, and he's going to have to be trusted with the nuclear code. I'm hoping that he will choose to surround himself with talented, experienced, and knowledgeable advisors. And I think everybody's eyes now should be trained on the issue of who is he going to pick to be Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, and National Security Advisor. Those are the key positions in the national security area, and I'm sure we'll be learning fairly soon who those choices are.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit more about that coming up. Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us on an awfully busy market day and news day.